is Marvis, your Chief Fun Officer and host of Golden Heart Girls After Hour podcast. Welcome to this episode. This is episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about Flawed and Fabulous. So, the way we do this is I will talk about the social impacts, and then I will also talk about the economic impact. So, today we're still working in our self-care, and Flawed and Fabulous is pretty much what it says. Girls, we have been taught for decades. If you have straight hair, this is how you make it curly. If you've got curly hair, this is how you make it straight. If you're short, this is how you look tall. If you're tall, this is how you look short. If you're wide, this is how you look skinny. We have just been inundated with all of this trying to be something that we're not. And I'm here to tell you, girl, just be yourself. Be your flawed self, because the more that you embrace yourself, the more fabulous you will be. Now, I'm not telling you something that I just threw together. I'm talking about, let me tell you my experience. I always feel like I'm a 12. Although I am down to a 6, I still had clothes that were from 12s to 14s to 16s to 18s because I had issues with my body. I also had issues with my voice until someone told me, "You sound like your mom." And I was like, let me embrace that. Let me take this opportunity. So what I'm bringing to you today is talking about embracing your flaws. But in order to do it, you got to do some self-care, girl. You got to take care of yourself. And stop wasting your money on trying to be something that you're not. Trust and believe it is not worth it. Now, as I said, something in my body continues to tell me that I'm a 12. 12 hangs off of me. But for some reason, whatever I have read about, whatever I've seen or done, my body still has to make those decisions so that I can be the healthiest version of myself. So, instead of us talking about how all of this stuff that we hear in the media is trying to change us, I want to talk to you about embracing your flaws and how it takes care of you through self-care. And the best topic that I can bring up is talking about getting your body to a point where it's as healthy as it can be. Which means you may have to change your lifestyle and change the way you do things to take care of yourself. Because I have enough chronic illnesses where I can start my own pharmacy and healthcare system. But I had to make a decision. Am I going to let those chronic illnesses deter me from having a fierce and limitless life? So what I done, I knew I was not at my healthiest. And I knew my son was on his way to college. And one thing that I did, and I know that my moms and grandmoms and aunties and all out there with me, you don't want the children to stress over something that you have some control over. Because once again, let's talk about control. You don't have control over if you tall. You don't have control over if you're short. You don't have control over whether or not your hair is curly or straight. But what you do have control over is your diet, your exercise, in your lifestyle. So, looking back, 2013, my son is junior, rising to be a senior, and he is trying to decide the college and university he wants to attend. Then, girl, I had already prayed to the Lord to just let me see him graduate. But I realized I had to do more than that. I had been surviving and not thriving. And I deserved better than that. And he deserved better than that. I finally listened to my doctors and I went gluten-free. But then I had to go another step because of fibromyalgia, a lot of us have reoccurring yeast infections. They had me on medicine for a solid year. So you're taking away all my good cells to try to help me handle this issue. And so I had to make a decision. Man, the day that I made that decision, I woke up tired. I was exhausted. I had just enough energy to get my son to school. And I said to myself, no more. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living this way. I deserve better than this. My mind is strong, and my body needs to get as strong as it can be too. So I went to my health food store in my hometown, and I read this book about the overgrowth of yeast. And I was like, this is my life. But everything that I was eating was producing more yeast. So when I picked my son up that day, we went to Ruby Tuesday because I, still work in progress. And he noticed that I changed the menu. I didn't get the mashed potatoes. I got the butternut squash or spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash. It doesn't matter. It was squash. It wasn't potatoes. Fish with no sauce on it. Because the one thing I had to do was I had to detox from what I was putting in my system. So, to make a long story short, I then started going back through my lived experience. My parents, my grandmother, grandfather, everybody was cooks. And they were using fresh produce to cook with. So I started doing the same thing. And I became gluten-free and yeast-free. Man, when I tell you it's a struggle, I live in the South, if you can't tell from the accent. I live in the South. What is left? But I started looking at these things and making these decisions. Now, 2013, 2014 was before they started making cauliflower rice. So my son was over there. He came in the kitchen to see that I was over there with a cauliflower and a grater trying to make me some rice because I was so used to having the white something on my plate. But don't you know that the moment that I changed my diet and started eating what was healthy for me, I started losing dress sizes. So that's where we come in, where I was probably a 12, and now we're moving on down. And at some point, I went back to the doctor, and he was like, okay, what's going on? What's wrong? Man, I'm hungry. I have gone from gluten to yeast, and I have cut out all of this stuff. Okay. But what I also did is I moved. I moved out of my hometown because my hometown was killing me. I was over there trying to make the community be a better place, but the community wasn't ready for it. And so I had to pack up, and I found my spot over in Durham. It doesn't stop from there. what I made up my mind to do once I moved was I was going to try something different every week. Lo and behold, the library had line dance class for an hour and a half, and I was like, how many times are we going to do the Cupid Shuffle and the Mississippi Slide? But I went, and I had the encouragement of the people in the class to make me come back. And then one class became 2 classes. And 2 classes became 3 classes. And at one point, I was over there line dancing 5 days a week with 3 to 4 different instructors. Man, it was a game changer because I stopped worrying about being flawed and started enjoying life. And also, because I started exercising, things changed. I became more social. I'm hanging out in these streets, enjoying life. My digestive system got better. My sleep improved. I am living something that I can only just tell you about because you have to go through the same changes and find out what makes you become the healthiest version of yourself. Now, I don't worry about being flawed anymore. It's a mindset. It's a change. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some pocket change. What I like to give is the 3 tips that will help you with no to low cost strategies so that you can be your flawed and fabulous self. Now, if you like what you're hearing and you want to be a sponsor, contact me at contact@marvisfund.com. That's CONTACT@MARVISFUN.com. And we can talk about how you can be a sponsor to help my Golden Hot girls be their fabulous, fierce, and limited self. All right, so this segment of the episode is talking about pocket change. Now, the way I have my principles set up, I feed the body through movement, feed the mind through reading, feed the soul through writing, and be a voice for the voiceless. So, for those of you who don't think anyone is paying attention to you as you're struggling to become your fabulous self, I'm listening. I hear you. I am you. And let me tell you, when you put the work in, it's a beautiful thing. And you cannot let anyone stand in your way once you have made that decision to accept your flaws and to be beautiful. So let's talk about the first principle, feeding your body through movement. Check out your local parks and recreation centers and see if you find anything that's no low cost for you to exercise with. So if line dancing is not your jam, I don't know why it's not, but if line dancing is not your jam, then walk. Now, what I don't suggest is for you to try to go out there on day 1 and try to walk an hour. No, you need to build yourself up. 15 minutes a day till you start feeling good about that. And then you increase it to 30 minutes a day. Now, they say it takes 21 days to set a habit. So I want you to start taking that habit. If it's dancing, is it walking, is it chair movement, whatever you do, yoga, whatever you do, Work at it for 21 days so it becomes part of your habit. Okay. 2, pocket change. I know this is a little bit different than what you probably would expect, but we're feeding the mind through reading. What I want you to do is when you go grocery shopping, check the ingredients of the products you're about to purchase. Just because it was organically grown does not mean that it is organically in that jar or can. Those preservatives are not good for you. Citric acid, number 1, don't buy it because it is just as bad as MSG. They're putting preservatives in the food. And trust and believe, I hate going to the grocery store because when I say go to the grocery store, I am probably at 4 different places to get my food. But to keep my costs down and to eat as healthy as I can be, because girlfriend, let me tell you, eating healthy is not for the faint of heart. It costs to eat healthy. But the benefits from it is that you're going to be able to enjoy your life, hopefully eat well so that it can reduce the medications that you may need, or at least make you feel better about yourself. And tip 3, feeding the soul through writing. I highly recommend journaling. Not so much about the food that you're intaking, but it's more about the way that you're feeling as you're going through this process. Because if you put it down on paper, it becomes a plan. And so looking at where you started from, looking at where you got to, and it's always so good to have it as a reflection. And it's also good that if you do fall off the wagon, then you can go back and look to see where you were at and start back over and not give up on you being flawed and fabulous. So today we have talked about the social impact of being flawed and fabulous. We realize that in this society, they're always trying to change you. But you got this. You are the best version of yourself, and you are uniquely divine. We also talked about the pocket change, the different ways that you can get to your flawed and fabulous self by being as healthy as you can get, which is finding a low to no cost movement activity, checking the labels so you can get the best products that's going to make you feel better and be as fit as you can be. And then journaling so that you can see where you did, how well you did. Now, I know this was a lot of information to put on you at one time. So what I'm asking you to do is check out what I'm offering you through my website at www.marvisfun.com. That's www.marvisfun.com. There you will find workshops that I have, challenges that I'm inquiring about, books that may be of service to you, and anything that you may need to contact me so that I can help you move to your goal of being flawed and fabulous. I hope you have enjoyed this episode on Flawed and Fabulous, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, Always be fierce and limitless in everything that you do.